Hey guys, what's up? It's AJ. Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing good. And in this video, we are gonna set up the animators on our enemy characters. So if you see, the enemy characters are walking around, patrolling actually, using the script we set up in the previous video, but now they are animating. So this enemy character is moving around using a walking animation. Then it's gonna stop at this point and have an idle animation. And we are kind of gonna just use the same animator that we used for the characters, which came with the standard asset pack to do this. So without further ado, let's get started. So guys, I have the third person animator controller over here, which we got from the standard assets pack. And I have duplicated that. I have created a folder called enemies and added the enemies. Renamed the duplicate of the third person animator controller as the enemies animator controller. And if you see the base layer, it's just got these three states, that is airborne, grounded, and crouching. And if you go to the grounded, you can see the blend tree over here, which kind of has idle animation, then turning around left and right. Then we got the walk animation, humanoid walk, and we got the humanoid run animation. So we're not gonna use this animator. Instead, we are gonna use an enemy one animator override controller, which is an override controller using the controller enemies animator controller. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because I want to have different enemies to have different animations for idle, walk, run, attack, everything. Of course, we haven't added any attacks to the enemies animator controller yet, but we will do that when we get the enemies to chase the player around after locking onto target. Guys, this is what we have for now. So I have added the enemy one animator override controller as the controller for the animator in the enemy one prefab, and I have reset some values on the nav mesh agent on the enemy one. I have set the speed to 0.5 because we don't need a very high speed when the character is just walking around or patrolling. We can actually increase the speed when the character is chasing the player around once he has locked on to target, but that's gonna be done when we get to that point. And the angular speed I have set to 100. This is the speed with which the player, the enemy character is gonna be turning around. Like, he stands at the initial position, then gets a random waypoint and move towards that random waypoint. So when moving towards that random waypoint, he might want to turn around, and the angular speed is gonna be used there. And I have set the acceleration to infinity, and this is because when I checked setting it to smaller values, characters not able to walk around with a constant speed. And I think this is the best way of making the character walk with a constant speed by giving acceleration infinity. In this case, okay, if you see the speed here, this is going to be the top speed which the character can get to, and the character is going to accelerate to get to that speed. So if we give a small value over here for acceleration, it is still going to look like the character is not walking with a constant speed. But if we give infinity, the acceleration is going to be a very high value from the beginning that we don't notice it. It would seem like the character is walking with the constant speed. And if you see the enemies animator controller, here you got turn and forward. These two values are going to be used. So if you go to the blend tree, you got a slider for turn and the forward values. So this is going to move from 0 to 1, and this is going to move from -1 to 1. So these two factors are going to play when we update the animator, while making the player turn around, as I said before, or forward in case when the character is walking around. Now let's open up a enemy mover script and edit it to include the. So we're going to need an animator to do this. And let's say we set the animator to get component animator. Now we are going to need a method to update the animator. So I'm just going to call it update animator. Let's hit Alt Enter, generate method, and here we got the animator update animator method. So I'm just gonna move this down here. So in the update animator, we are gonna have a vector3 called velocity, and this is gonna get the now mesh agent dot velocity. Then we are gonna convert the velocity we are gonna get here is the global velocity, and we wanna convert it to local velocity. So we do that by adding another vector3 called local velocity equals transform dot inverse transform direction velocity then we get the speed by using local velocity dot z and the turn amount by using mathf dot atan, actually atan2 dot local velocity dot x comma local velocity dot z. Then we just gotta call animator dot set float the factor which is forward, then speed. So the ID is forward and value is speed. Then we are going to add a damp time, so 0.1 f. You can ignore this if you want to, and I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference. It's just for smoothing it out, smoothing the animation out over time. So we are gonna say time dot delta time. So that's for the walking animation. Now for the animation when the character needs to turn around, we are gonna say animator dot set float again. Here the ID is gonna be turn and value is gonna be turn. Again a damp time of 0.1 f and time dot delta time. Reason why we are converting the velocity to local velocity is because when we get the Namesh agent dot velocity, it gives the position of the child independent of the parent. And if you see the character in Unity, so if you go to Mixamo Hips, there are several childs in this rooted to the enemy 01. So if you don't change the velocity to a local velocity, all these parts here are gonna move independent of the parent, and that's not something that we want. We want all the parts to move relative to the parent. So I'm just gonna show you how it would be if we use the global velocity instead of the local velocity. So let's say we go here, comment this line out, copy this and paste it here. So in the rest of the lines, we are just using local velocity. Now it is going to be using the global velocity. Now if we go back to Unity and just hit play, let's, yeah. If we move away, we're gonna see the character walk around like this. Nothing bad till now, but here if you see the character's legs aren't going very well. Here also it just seems a bit odd. That's because these are not using the local velocity and using the global velocity. Now if you change this back and go to Unity, hit play. So we move away from all the enemies and see an enemy. Let's just watch this enemy. You're not gonna see that kind of broken leg anymore. Okay, so guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That would be really helpful. Until next time, see you. Bye.